Chapter 23. The Forgotten King. The rise, fall, and resurrection of the divine masculine. Shiva without Shakti is a corpse. Tantric axiom. For every distorted goddess buried beneath centuries of concrete and shame, there is a king who forgot who he was. In the elemental dance of nature, the divine masculine is not a tyrant, a priest, or a soldier. It is the witness, the protector, the steward of balance. Yet like the divine feminine, the masculine was not only repressed, it was severed from its source, calcified into rigid forms, and repurposed to serve empires rather than life. This chapter seeks to uncover the sacred masculine as it once stood, not above the feminine but beside her, fused through myth, nature, and purpose. By examining its roles in Egyptian, Vedic, Chinese, and Celtic traditions, we find not only what was lost, but what must be reborn. In metaphysical terms, the divine masculine is not a man, nor a gender. It is an energetic principle of clarity, consciousness, order, and movement. It is air and fire, reaching upward and outward, giving direction to the earth and water currents of the feminine. At its core, the divine masculine is the sacred container that holds and honors feminine flow, the protector of life, not the taker of it, the conscious force that sees clearly and acts with integrity, the initiator, not through domination but through divine will. This energy was once embodied in kings, fathers, teachers, and warriors, not as enforcers, but as guardians of the sacred. When balanced, it uplifts the feminine and shelters the vulnerable. When distorted, it burns and conquers. In ancient Egypt, the masculine did not rule alone. It served the laws of Ma'at, the cosmic order of balance and truth. Osiris, the god of the underworld and fertility, ruled not through violence, but through resurrection and mystic initiation. His divine consort, Isis, literally reassembled his dismembered body, breathing life into him through magic and love. This myth demonstrates the interdependence of masculine structure and feminine life force. Their son Horus became the model for the sacred king, not a warlord, but an avenger of injustice who restored order after chaos. The pharaoh, in turn, was expected to be Horus in the flesh, ruling only so long as he upheld Ma'at. But as dynasties ossified, pharaohs began declaring themselves gods. Isis was diminished, her mystery schools disbanded. The masculine shifted from servant of balance to self-proclaimed divinity, mirroring a broader fall from harmony into hubris. The Vedic and later Hindu traditions preserved one of the most profound expressions of masculine-feminine union, Shiva and Shakti. Shiva, the silent ascetic, represents pure consciousness, but he is inert without Shakti, the feminine energy of creation. Only when they unite does the universe move. This sacred balance is mythologized in Ardhanarishvara, the half-man, half-woman deity showing the eternal fusion of duality. The masculine was not dominant. It was the silent witness that allowed feminine energy to manifest and evolve. Early Vedic hymns also praised Indra, the warrior king, but not for conquest, for slaying the serpent of chaos and releasing the waters. His victory brought rain and fertility, aligning the masculine with renewal, not destruction. Yet as priestly classes rose, power consolidated into Brahmin patriarchy. Shakti became secondary, and masculine rule became legalistic, hierarchical, and increasingly hostile to feminine expression. In Taoist cosmology, masculine and feminine were never meant to dominate one another. They were understood as complementary, generative polarities. Yang, masculine, is light, sky, activity, heat. Yin, feminine, is dark, earth, rest, moisture. Together they form the Tao, the way of nature. The emperor, known as the Son of Heaven, was not merely a political figure. He was a cosmic mediator, tasked with balancing heaven, masculine, and earth, feminine. Rituals were performed to ensure rain, fertility, and seasonal order, and failure to maintain harmony meant divine disapproval. But this elegant balance was soon absorbed into Confucian rigidity. Masculine roles became equated with authority, discipline, and filial obedience, while the feminine was relegated to silence and servitude. The Tao was forgotten, and Yang excess led to imbalance, not just in gender roles, but in medicine, politics, and cosmology. Among the Celtic peoples, the masculine was not a ruler over the land, it was wed to it. The sacred king did not inherit power by bloodline alone. He had to unite with the sovereignty goddess, often embodied in the form of the land itself. If he dishonored this bond, the land would turn barren. Gods like Cernunnos, the horned god, represented the wild, regenerative masculine, not a soldier, but a guardian of forests, animals, and liminal spaces. The Dagda, another father figure, wielded a club that both killed and revived, symbolizing masculine stewardship over life and death. The masculine was inherently relational, tied to cycles, animals, and the goddess. But with the spread of Roman rule and later Christian doctrine, these earthy, shamanic kings were replaced by authoritarian lords. The feminine disappeared into fairy tales, and the masculine became armored and ashamed of its tenderness. Across cultures, the divine masculine was never meant to dominate. Its original task was to serve, protect, and create structure through humility, presence, and honor. When the feminine was suppressed, when the earth was desacralized, the goddess forgotten, the masculine lost his way too. Without the feminine mirror, the masculine fell into shadow forms. The tyrant, power-hungry, cruel, disconnected from soul. The absent father, emotionally unreachable, unable to hold space. The zealot, rigid, dogmatic, suppressing all that is fluid or feeling. The conqueror, needing to dominate to prove worth. These are not natural expressions, they are traumas of separation. They are what happens when the sun burns too long without rain. To heal the world, the divine masculine must return, but not as a ruler, a preacher, or a war hero. He must return as a guardian of the sacred, a servant of balance, and a devoted counterpart to the feminine. In modern terms, this means embracing vulnerability as strength, restoring connection to land and soul, listening, witnessing, and protecting without ego, acting with integrity and purpose, not conquest. When the masculine remembers his true role, he becomes the bridge, not just between men and women, but between heaven and earth, thought and form, will and compassion.